My name is Jen, and this is a story of how my first daughter was born premature. My daughter Amelia was born at 35 weeks. I was diagnosed with pre-eclampsia, which eventually turned into eclampsia. I spent 5 days in the hospital, and that's when we found out that Amelia had experienced growth restriction, which is one of the things that happens with pre-eclampsia that turns into eclampsia. So my daughter stopped growing basically at 32 weeks. When you are told that you're going to be induced and your baby is going to come early, it is the scariest thing. When Amelia was born, she weighed 4 pounds, 2 ounces because of all of the liquid that they pump in you during that labor process. But when she lost all of that water weight, her actual weight was 3 pounds, 12 ounces. So she was a tiny little baby. And every time we were with her, I would try to nurse her and it just didn't work. So one of the nurses said, you should really ask about donor breast milk. Thankfully, they agreed to let her, have the donor breast milk. After that, it was night and day. Amelia, before receiving the donor breast milk, was, tiny and frail, and she was healthy. And from the moment she was born, all of the doctors and all of the nurses would tell us how Amelia is so feisty and she's a fighter. And oh my goodness, she's so strong. And that's her personality. That's who she is even today. But I saw an immediate difference after she received the donor breast milk. I could immediately tell she was on the up and up. She was recovering. She started to put on weight. And it just made such a huge difference. So she was on the donor breast milk for the time that she was in the hospital. She spent 2 weeks in the NICU. And then after that, thanks to the donor breast milk and the fact that she was able to put on all that weight, we were able to take her home. What I hope is that people have more access to this information, that we normalize the idea of using breast milk banks because they are so helpful. Breast milk is the best thing that you can do for your child. And if you need to do formula, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have the option to give your child breast milk, that is an amazing option for your baby. That's the best thing that you can do for your baby. So I hope that we normalize that. And I hope that we also normalize donating milk, because I think that if more women knew that there is a need both in hospitals and outside of hospitals, donating breast milk, I think, would be much more common, and that would be just wonderful for the babies. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the resources that we had. I'm grateful for that donor breast milk. I'm grateful for the support, of course, of our family and friends. And it truly does feel like she's a miracle baby.